The MCU after No Way Home was like Windows ME. Garbage. Hopefully this is XP.
The universe has judged you.
What up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Gen Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me as always is Mr. Brian Schultz. Marvel Roundup, Doomsday, teasers update, the latest. We got some Super Bowl trailer talk. And is this strategy that they've implemented in order to hype us up for the next iteration of the Avengers working? There's some Loki rumors. Blade canceled.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
And this time it seems like it's a confirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it seems like it's more solid. This is now multiple sources that are reporting.
What's that movie? Oh yeah, Lashif. Someone talked. Damson Idris. Black Panther rumors. We already saw the writing on the wall a few months ago when they sort of had us look at what this could possibly look like. Strange Academy is one of those things like, why? For me, why are we doing this? Is this going to be the Tatooine of the next phase of Avengers in terms of where all this begins, in terms of the thread lines to other stuff? Why is Strange Academy still a thing? And Nova. A lot of these projects that are being announced, Brian, I'm not sure why we're getting them. I mean, Nova is certainly something that they've talked about for quite some time. That we've heard some ideas for what they wanted to sort of go with, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. Doomsday teasers update. Have you seen the latest, Brian?
Yeah, so we're up to 4.
Okay.
I've seen 3 in the theater. And I've seen the one that was, well, I think people are wise to this. You know, I saw it on, John Campea did a show about it, but this has been going around. This whole idea that these are leaks that are not leaks, right? That this is Marvel who is very systematically leaking, because the timing is, you can't really mistake it, right? It's like one trailer appears, it goes to big screen, and then immediately the second trailer leaks, and then that goes to big screen, it's like clockwork, right? So I think people have caught on to this and this idea that like these are not really handheld leaks by someone, putting out real. It's Marvel behind it, and also because
it's
we
Kevin
know
in the theaters, going in on his phone.
In his own private theater, with his iPhone, but I think because. Also, we've seen in the past where studios will move quickly to take leaks down, right? Where there's copyright infringement and stuff like that. And in this case, all the leaks are up. They don't ever touch them, right? So they just let them sit there, which means they're trying to get that buzz out the door. I think the reason, the fourth one involves. You've seen the leaked fourth one, right? I think so. I had a couple issues. I didn't like it, and even though let's put it this way. So you have M'Baku and Shuri walking to ultimately shake hands with Ben Grimm. They have sort of a cheeky exchange of one-liners. You have a shot of Namor, and it's kind of like the tagline is the Wakandans and Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. I thought this was the weakest of the 4, and I think let's get into the debate around all of these, as now we're supposedly one away from the end. The things that I didn't love about this, even though I fully understand the comics suggestion of this, right? Because you're showing, oh, well, here's Wakanda. Oh, there's a shot of Namor. Oh, Fantastic Four. Oh, Namor, Sue, like Dr. Doom. Like, I get what you're doing in terms of, if you're a comics fan, you see these characters face to face and you're thinking about some famous storylines or arcs or themes that you've read. But what I didn't love about it was, number one, I thought it actually looked really cheap. Like the background is like we're walking in Tatooine. There's like basically it's just like a flat sandy backdrop with no depth or detail to it. Now you could say, well, they'll explain that in the movie. Okay, fair enough. But I'm saying for promotional material, it doesn't look visually arresting in the way that, quite honestly, the best single shot we've got, hands down, is Scott Summers peeling off his mask to blast presumably a sentinel as another one walks behind him. That's the one like visual shot where you like have sat up and take notice. But this just looked kind of like it was almost done in clearly done in the volume. Like doesn't look really like almost finished in some ways, effects wise. And then the handshake between two characters that are very good actors, right? You got Winston Duke and Evan Moss Bachrach, but obviously they don't have any history. I don't know that I needed a reminder that Fantastic Four is returning because, after all, we just saw their movie. Doctor Doom is in the teaser of the movie. The Fantastic Four ship is in the cut scene of Thunderbolts. Like, what reminder do we need that they're coming? But we know they're coming back. We just saw them. So I didn't quite understand the other than the comics nod Easter egg. And quite honestly, if you were going to do that, why not have a shot of Sue then, right? If you're going to have a shot of Namor, why not throw the shot of Sue up on screen as like a wink, wink. We're starting this love triangle thing. I don't know. I was left very underwhelmed by this fourth iteration, which maybe go to the question of, is this really working for people?
It could have worked. It's just, again, who's in the room when these decisions are being made? That's in terms of what to show and how to show it, in terms of how to get people excited for this. I don't know if they're testing this with other people, and people are just, who are they testing this with? If they are testing it, are they testing I don't want to say fanboys, but people who are, no matter what you give them, they'll be happy. They have to sort of get I don't know how they're going about doing this, but for me, I'm over this already, and I'm not into. I just want to see the movie already. By this point, I just want to see the movie because this hype builder isn't building on that hype at all for me.
We talked about last time that theme. I mentioned the idea of the 90-10 split between nostalgia and question of new. I think at this point, the response seems mixed to me, and I don't know that Marvel wanted mixed here. I think you're getting people who are in the knee-jerk moment, who are still kind of, hey, that's cool, reaction to Steve, or to serious Thor, or to the original X-Men. But I do sense like there is this certainly a hive of people who are kind of like, yeah, but this is where's the new stuff and where are we going? Like, okay, I know that Patrick Stewart played Professor X, and like I know that Chris Evans was Steve Rogers, like, but should I really care that all these people, and there is this sense of like, look who we got for this movie, almost like an NBA All-Star game. But as most people know, nobody likes watching the NBA All-Star game. It's terrible basketball because they're not really playing real basketball, right? So it's like, but they got all the big names, So there is this feeling as you're going through of, okay, but what about even 5 to 10 seconds of what this is all about, or why we should care that all of these groups and characters are coming back one more time, considering that, quite frankly, I don't know that I don't know that the widespread non-comics audience was out there clamoring for them to come back, if that makes sense. So therefore, it is on Marvel to make it worth their while. And it's interesting. I don't think it's had any impact at all on Avatar's box office, which has resumed its acceleration downward and is now firmly looking like it's a wrap for the series, which is, again, so amazing to say for a movie that's probably going to make $1.5 billion. But when the prior two were 2.9 and 2.3, the 1.5 was not what Disney was looking for. And I do believe this teaser strategy was aimed in part to try to support repeat viewings, or at least repeat bookings of Avatar. And that has not worked. So in that sense, I don't think the audience has really like come out just to see this. And I will say, like in the last one that, as I told you, where we had the X-Men, there was no reaction. And I actually thought that obviously has the best single shot in it. Nobody reacted at all to the tagline of the X-Men are coming back. It was just like okay.
For me, teasers are supposed to imply some sort of storyline here.
So not always. I think it depends.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends. Like, I think it depends on what,
Does it
where
need
you
to be
are.
for this though?
So I think for this one, they needed more than this. By the time we got to the end. Now, if you want to say, hey, this is being done in 5 parts and over the 5 parts they were going to get there, okay. But 5 character vignettes, and we'll see what the 5th one is, and then getting the trailer, as we've heard, that will come at the Super Bowl, I think you're pushing the bounds of the audience's attention span a little bit in terms of, wanting to do, I don't know, just kind of go through this and be like, okay, another cameo. That's effectively what they've done, right? These groups and these actors, cameo, they're all coming back.
Since we're on the Super Bowl trailer subject, what does this need to be for you to get excited, Brian? For you to get like, oh snap. Because if you go to other channels, they're all snapping for everything.
Yeah, but
they're all snapping for everything that comes out. And it's like,
yeah.
Like if I was I couldn't be on their channels and be the Debbie Downer of their excitement. Because that's what it would be. Because these things aren't like this. This is not, again, the Infinity War trailer. This is not the Endgame trailer.
Every time I look at these, I try to put myself in two sets of shoes, right? There's my own set of shoes as a consumer and a fan. And then there's I try to imagine the audience member who is a casual moviegoer. And that's the moviegoer that got caught up in Infinity War and Endgame as a can't miss phenomenon, but who is not versed in the material. And I think this is such an important distinction because these movies have to reach those people in a big time way in a very competitive marketplace where things are really expensive. Mm-hmm. And that's where I say this promotional campaign has been a disappointment. I don't get the sense that those people are seeing these and being like, okay, I'm clearing my December calendar next year. I have to go see this. I think they're kind of like, haven't I seen all of those characters a lot before?
And what's going on?
Yeah.
Endgame. I'll say this story and then did we discuss is this working? I think no, I don't think it's working. It's certainly getting those individuals who can't wait for this excited.
But they already had their money, right?
Yeah,
it's like you and I, like we can be as unenthused as possible and they got our money, right?
Exactly. We still gonna pay for it.
But they're not marketing. They shouldn't be marketing to us because we're already bought and paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend, and shout outs to him. But he didn't see any of the MCU movies. And when Endgame was out, that was all the craze. That's what everybody was talking about. He said, I want to probably go check out Endgame. And I'm like, what? You're going to go check out Endgame, sit there for 3 hours and not feel anything because you don't know the story, yo. This mad movies. And not to say you need to see all of them. I think you need to see a lot of them. But in order to feel the excitement and because you're going to go in there 3 hours and just get the energy off of everybody else and not really experience it yourself.
Yeah.
I told him, yo, don't go. I was like, if you got other stuff to do that. Don't go see Endgame because you haven't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not going to really get the experience and be emotionally attached to what these characters have gone through to reach to this final point. But, and those are the people, Brian, a little bit above him who have seen the movies, and they have to reach the people that were out, kind of, that has seen the movies, Perhaps
Yeah.
saw Infinity Endgame, but were out. They're like,
Yeah.
and now out now since
Oh,
the
yeah.
multiverse saga. They got to get
It-
those people to buy in.
Big time. I mean, because if you think about, I always love the revisionist history, right? It's always when you go, you need to go back and really like evaluate like what was going on in Marvel. If you look at so obviously Iron Man 1 is a box office hit in 2008 terms, right? $500 million global at the time for that was seen as shockingly good.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like, 500 million today for Fantastic Four was deemed a major disappointment. This is why it's like always important to like lens where you are. But if you look at the gross of Iron Man 1, you look at the gross of Incredible Hulk, you look at the gross of Thor, you look at the gross of Captain America, nothing about those four box office in isolation would have suggested what was about to happen with the first Avengers movie, which was a $1.6 billion enterprise. What it tells you is there clearly was a broader audience that was drawn to the assembly of the Avengers that really hadn't been along for the ride of the individual origin stories. Like you can't get from Captain America making less than $400 million worldwide to the Avengers making 1.6 with the same people. You obviously, a lot of people found their entry point to the MCU through the first Avengers film. And then what seemed to happen was, as we talked about, Marvel actually has a little bit of a slump in 2013, but Winter Soldier and Guardians, that they take the momentum of the first Avengers movie and they blow open the aperture to where now those people that you're talking about, like right there, that casual person is now caught up in it and cares suddenly about the next Marvel movie and where they're going to the point it snowballs into $2 billion plus for Infinity War and almost $3 billion for Endgame. We're obviously not going to be able to do that with this movie. So for this movie to effectively go from neutral to negative territory, which is kind of where the broader sentiment is, to overwhelmingly positive territory, that's an incredible lift. And I think that a almost purely nostalgic take on this is probably turning out to be not quite the avenue to try to get those general people back involved. So I was trying to think about like and I think that the key component in this, let's not dance around it. It's Downey. Like that's what you do with him and what you do with Dune is your ticket in a promotional setting to hooking people. He's the most recognizable actor in the MCU. He's probably one of the most recognizable actors in the world. I would, for you and me, people who, go to Comic Cons, who are there, who are aware of him popping up on stage and doing all that, it's old hat. But I'm telling you, there is a large swath of general moviegoers who do not know that he is Dr. Doom. Because they don't care about the genre unless they're made to care.
And if they do know he's Dr. Doom, it's confusing as hell.
So, but my point is, if you wanted to get those people's attention, this promotional material probably had to use that to some extent to at least get the average moviegoer to wait, he's Dr. Doom now? Like that question. Wait, what? Like, I don't get, and because they haven't followed, they're like, what's going on? So I was like, would it have been better or would it have changed the tenor of these promotions if every teaser had ended with 5 seconds of Doom something?
I was just thinking about that. These, so far
like
you
he's
put out
watching Cap. Like you zoom out, he's watching Cap. It like something to be like, there's this other twist and the villain is ahead of, or I don't know.
You've already set the precedence of this is Doom from jump.
You gave it away. So that's what I'm saying. You already did. So you might as well lean into it.
Exactly. Each of these trailers should have had Doom. I don't know how much involved in the specificity to each of these individuals we've been introduced. Cap, Hemsworth, X-Men. There should have been a trailer dedicated, a tight trailer dedicated to Doom's influence on those characters or whatever's going on. I would have preferred that over what you've been giving us.
So I thought of
all these. That's why every time I see, these guys, I know they'll be back, yo. I know they're coming back.
That's the thing.
I don't need the clock to reset each time because that clock is off.
That's the other thing. They got to get that. They got to get the clock aligned. So I will say this: when the theater I saw that had the Cap trailer and the Thor trailer back to back, the clock was aligned. I don't know how they did that, but it worked. The clock was synced, so it wasn't just counting down from a year. No, so I'll give you an example of a shot that I was thinking of when I've been watching some of these. Was if you remember the teaser for The Dark Knight Rises. The very last shot of that teaser is over Bane's shoulder. He's climbing the stairs and you see Batman kind of groggy. And like they just show you that for 2 seconds. That mentality is what I'm looking for here. Because if you think about that shot, it doesn't give away Hardy. It doesn't give away the story. It's just, that's both an Easter egg for comics fans, but it's also for general fans of like, whoa, Batman looks like he's in trouble, right? If you don't know any better. And so I think there would have been something of like, you're seeing like Steve Rogers in this almost paradise like state with his son. And then if you cut to like 5 seconds of like him suited up, but like kind of beaten up and you know what I mean? Like, and you just see like Doom's silhouette. That at least would have teased the audience of like a peril or something. I'm talking wide audience, a peril, a new adventure, some danger that like is going to blow up, his world or in a way that we haven't seen. I feel like maybe that as the connective tissue for these would have made the nostalgia feel more meaningful, as opposed to this is getting dangerously close to, I think, the thing that you and I have feared with a number of these movies, right? We feared it with No Way Home and it worked out. We feared it with Deadpool Wolverine and it worked out, but it's like
there
the
was
idea
an
of like
expectation that we thought
cameo
it was going to be
like,
entertaining. It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
It was, but it's like with this movie, you definitely worry about the clutter and you worry about this is almost like a red carpet more than it is an actual movie. And you're kind of, when you see these, you're like, you're only almost feeding that fear in a weird way, which I do not think was the intent.
No.
So you said the trailer. I'll throw it back to you. I think the trailer now for the Super Bowl actually has more pressure on it and probably might need to give away more than they probably should be. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is this. I said some time ago, if you've been watching this show, what I didn't want was these montages with these dudes talking. What have we been getting? That.
Yeah, it's all it is. A little monologuing and, overlays and stuff.
To me, they copy-pasted the idea of what they've done before. And, what you've done before, let it go.
Yeah.
And get innovative. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
You stay in your little family-friendly Disney World over there.
To me, it's lazy, man. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I know it all. Who am I? But as a fan, I'm gonna tell you if this chicken is bad.
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to. I'm just like I said, we're trying to get a feel for the receptivity to the pitch. They made a pitch. Like this is a pitch, right? It's attacked. They're making a bet. As I've said, I think the bet is all about that opening weekend. They want to max that out. I don't even think this isn't about like. I really don't think this is about matching or outdoing Endgame from a storytelling perspective because they probably know they can't at this point because they don't have the whole.
I still have faith. I still have
the whole, but they just. Well, I'm saying they don't have the arc of this momentum and successful phases built up to that point. They just don't have that at their disposal. So
because they're giving us these trailers, these whack. These trailers is whack, yo. I don't care how excited. I don't care about seeing Steve up on screen.
But okay, so I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my mouth a little bit here, though. It isn't some of your. Like, would you feel as put off by some of the teasers here if Marvel was crushing it to the same degree they were in 2016 through 2018? You know what I mean? Like, would you feel more forgiving of these exact same teasers if all the momentum was there building up to this already? Or would you be just as critical?
I would be just as critical.
Interesting.
Brian, in that I said what I said even before things came out, and it's certainly due because there's no momentum here. What I think you're asking is if the momentum was still the same towards this next one.
Yeah.
I would still feel like these trailers are underwhelming.
Okay.
Because you just these teasers are like, this dude is getting off a bike, he's getting home, and he's seeing his kid. Yo, I do that. I used to do that almost every day. Okay, what? No, I'm sorry. What Thor is doing, I do that on a constant basis, asking one last time, one more go at it. You're not showing me nothing new, my friend. I've seen it all already. We've seen it all already. They're not doing anything different, yo. What drives me crazy is at the end of it, these characters will be back. I know they will be back.
Yeah.
That isn't exciting to me. Show me what I potentially may see in terms of the threat that they have to sort of confront. You haven't done that at all. At all.
I'm gonna counter that just a little bit because, and I'll get into something that has not been shown in the teasers very conspicuously that I don't think is an accident and I think is part of the problem. See, I think if the post-Endgame phases had sustained or even gotten close to the momentum and we were sitting here buzzing about the adventures of Shang-Chi and Blade and the Eternals and Captain Marvel and where Strange had gone and all and Miss Marvel, and I think if we were legit in Fantastic Four and we were super excited about where all those characters were and what we had seen, I contend that you would have carried that base of enthusiasm into the theater, and then when they showed you on top of all those characters you already know and love from the last 6 years, we're now going to reintroduce these other OG characters you love. I think people would have cheered at the screen at some of these teasers.
Sure.
But I think because there is no steam for any of the current
Because of
roster,
where we at,
which
Brian.
and the thing is, because of the, Q De Niro, because of that, you go into these and you have a more cynical reaction to some of them. Because you say, well, of course you're bringing these guys back because who else you got? And there's a little bit of that, like, you don't have anything else. And it's like, this fourth trailer was the first time they even showed kind of like recent characters, right? But like, they showed Ben Grimm. Okay, he was on screen recently. Like, Shuri's got a new Black Panther costume variant or whatever. Okay, but in fairness, Shuri and M'Baku were part of the Infinity Saga too. So I feel like it's disrespectful to call them new characters. Namor obviously comes in the post-Endgame era. So you have Namor and Ben. Those are the two new characters that you put on the screen as part of this. You know what characters have not made an appearance at all besides Doctor Doom? The actual Avengers. The ones who are currently on the roster. Like Sam Wilson, Shang-Chi, Ms. Marvel, like Captain Marvel, like Ant-Man. They're not showing any of those characters. And I don't think it's that they think it's because they know everyone loves them and doesn't need to see them. It's because they don't want to show them, because it'll draw attention to all of the failures and disappointments of the past 6 years. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's face it, if and when they show Doom, new mask, same task.
Same task.
It's not really new because it's an old guy doing it again. And maybe he's going to do a great job. But my point is, it's still nostalgia. Downey is still nostalgia.
Yeah.
In any capacity. So that's where I think like these teasers are definitely doing a hide the ball on the story, but they're also doing a hide the ball on the title characters. This is an Avengers movie. And when they say Avengers now, that is not supposed to refer to Steve Rogers in the 40s anymore.
Yeah. We're in a bad place, yo. We here now.
Yeah, and this Loki rumor don't make me feel any better.
What is that?
So, as we know, Hiddleston has been very tight-lipped about it, but something slipped on the story maybe that he has a very significant role, like bigger than you would think. So what did he say? My contributions have been contributed. Supposedly his contributions are potentially more meat material than you think. But, and this is what, I want your reaction, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. There is a rumor that he wields the hammer in this movie.
It's like Shang-Chi and what's the other girl's name?
Katie.
Katie.
I love how you never remember her name as a way to insult her membership in the Avengers.
What connection is there?
You're
to
like
Avengers and
Mr.
this
Burns
person?
with Homer Simpson. You're like Mr. Burns with Homer Simpson. He never remembers his name. What's his name in Sector 7? That's you and Katie.
Everybody can wield it, right? Anybody can join the Avengers, right? As long
I'm just
if you're in the
saying,
movie
right?
and you help, you're an Avenger.
But
now
like,
everybody can hold the hammer. It's
but I'm
like
like,
I don't care about Loki holding the hammer, yo. Because now it makes him worthy, maybe? Okay, I get it. It makes him worthy now because he wasn't worthy before to hold the hammer. He hasn't earned that Captain America sort of moral compass, but now he earns it. Now he can wield the hammer. I don't care about seeing that. That is a direct sort of reimagining of what Kevin Feige wants to sort of build in terms of who holds the hammer.
That's my problem with it, because you already got away with that gimmick one more time than you should have. The only character who should have wielded the hammer that was both really cool and a nod to comics fans was Cap, and they did a really smart, back when Marvel knew what it was doing, did a really smart thing in Ultron where the hammer wobbles slightly when he tries to pick it up, right? And that was like a little, like fans noticed that, and you see Thor's face, like, what's going on over there, And that, of course, pays off. And like, there's a lot of fans for whom that moment is a cheer moment when you see the hammer in Endgame lift and you realize that Cap is the one who's going to wield it. And it's like, you see that shot of him attacking Thanos and it's perfect. I mean, it's everything you want as a comics fan and as a movie fan. I don't need to see Loki pick up the hammer for me to view him as redeemed. The good work of the TV show and the good work of Tom Hiddleston in this character for over 10 years has already done that. You are cheapening the Cap moment, in my opinion, if you have Loki pick up the hammer. It's almost like you're saying, you as an audience, I don't trust you as an audience to buy him as this conflicted, flawed, but redeemed character. I have to give it like a very black and white seal of approval, and that's picking up his brother's hammer. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, again, that people are going to see that as like an echo of this scene they really loved. But as you say, if it happens and makes the final cut, that feels very much like a Kevin thing, where he is trying to replay the highlights and repackage them and make you think they're somehow cooler and bigger. And I'm here to tell you that's not really how that works.
But what do we know, Brian?
No one is saying that like we know better than Kevin Feige. That's not but as an audience, you can react to certain individual things, and there is a lot of precedent, right? We can point to whether it's, we just talked about it in Avatar Fire and Ash, like that sense of repetition from a great director where you're like, this is still a fun movie with great stuff in it, but there's this thing that's a little off about the imagination, right? We talk about Rise of Skywalker. That's the poster child for this, right? Where it's like we're trying to play the hits and cobble together this hydra of things that fans want to see, and we wind up with a complete mess that nobody likes. Like, there's a lot of precedent for what we're talking about where you can say, yeah, we don't know better than the creators, and we know this is really hard to do, but there's a theme here of we have enough history to say audiences don't tend to respond well to rehashes of things they loved. That typically doesn't get you the bigger reaction the next time.
I'm going to be on the lookout when I'm watching this to hear the people who are going to like just anything. Those are the people who are going to react.
But then that's going to be the case, right? The people that are going to have their like YouTube channel where they're like on the meme and stuff, and like they do that for almost anything. But like, this is why I couldn't put this movie on my top 5 most anticipated, because I'm just too like afraid of all the things that seem to be happening to where I'm just like, and this thing is sacred territory to me, right? Like what they've done with the Avengers movies. So it just feels like if they really submit a lackluster, clearly doing this for the money and trying to get your wallet type of product, I'm going to feel like really put off by it more so than I usually would. And so that's why I'm just like, I'm almost more nervous. Like it probably, it should be on your top 5 most anticipated, but I'm just scared. I'm scared of it.
Yeah. Blade. Canceled yet again.
Sounds like finally.
Yeah.
Finally done, right? And this is why, like, coming on the heels of the Jordan Peele, is he doing something with Marvel rumor, we get another confirmation that Blade as a solo project is dead. And that Mahershala Ali, if he appears as the character, will do so as part of the Midnight Suns ensemble movie. He will not lead in with his own film.
Do you think, I mean, again, if you've been on this channel and long enough, you've already seen some of the shows that we've done for Black Panther. No, sorry, not Black Panther, for Blade, and the prospects and the progress and the non-starts and all this other stuff. And we've said what we said in terms of what Ali should be doing. What Kevin said. What did Kevin say? He called us. That means there's no precedence to really, or priority to really do this, because that's not what they were really thinking about doing. They probably had it in the plans, but not for how quickly that sort of turned out when that phone call was made, and Kevin in his excitement just said yes. And then after they sat him down or had discussions about it, the discussions weren't about Blade. It was just this thing that he said yes to. I'm interested in seeing or hearing if Mahershala will be the guy. If they do decide to do Blade, will he be the guy? And you'll know if he starts talking about his experience and he ain't going to be the guy. There's going to be somebody else.
Well, the language has already pivoted, right? I mean, his most recent language on this was, I'm still ready if they give me a call. The irony of he called them. They ain't calling him these days, right? So that's he's sort of acknowledging like, yes, I'm still attached technically, but I'm on the outside. That's what that tells you. We know there was a point where he was in the room trying to affect change and get his people involved.
Yeah.
And he's telling you, I'm outside the room now.
Yeah.
I may legally still have a contract, but he's not really part of whatever's going on creatively. So short answer is, I don't think he's going to be the guy. And look, he's doing the sequel to Jurassic World Rebirth. That character survived and is coming back. That movie, that they announced a sequel. He's in it. And I think Midnight Suns does not seem close. Like if you think about like what's on the priority list and development list, I mean, clearly the Mutant Saga is the cinematic property they're going for first. Maybe Jordan Peele is their Midnight Suns conversation right now, but that sounds at best preliminary.
Yeah.
So you're talking about from scripting to pre-pro to shooting to post to screen. I mean, Midnight Suns to me sounds like at the earliest, a 2029, 2020, 2030. So now Mahershala's mid to late 50s for his first appearance. You're talking about 60, maybe approaching 60 years old if he got to the solo movie. That's not happened.
Yeah.
Because as we know, someone who's in his early 60s who apparently is going to get one more appearance in Swan Song is only ever going to be one Blade. Wesley Snipes apparently is in either Doomsday or Secret Wars as like a nod and acknowledgement of his work in Deadpool and Wolverine.
But that's it.
I mean, he's 62, 63. I mean, they're not going to launch a Blade franchise around a 60-year-old actor. It's not happening. So no, I think it's all a wrap for that. Blade as a character may indeed appear in Midnight Suns. I just think it'll be ultimately a different actor.
Yeah, I think hopefully if we get more confirmation about Midnight Suns in terms of it beginning to film or being announced in one of Kevin's presentations, I think we should talk about the approach. Does it deserve, like, this is a team thing.
A lot of team.
Yeah, and what should be the approach in order to maximize that moment when the team is working together? Because I mean, is Avengers the only team, or Justice League the only team you can do this with? I say, uh, Maximus. They say no. Damson Idris. He already had his, how would I say, outing to sort of see what this looks like, or what he'd look like as Black Panther when they did this event in where, I don't know, I forget where, Brian, do you recall?
I don't, but I know what you're talking about in terms of like they had a bunch of these actors together in one spot, red carpet. There was a lot of interviews. He kind of was this where he was laughing about the question around this, and now there is smoke around. He has had to block schedule time to shoot multiple Marvel projects as a unnamed character that everyone is obviously filling in the blank on, but.
Yeah.
With Black Panther 3 and potentially maybe some participation in Secret Wars being part of that. So that would explain the multiple movies.
Yeah. I mean, like don't insult my intelligence in that you show Robert Downey Jr. He's doomed. We know he's doomed. Is there any question that Damson Idris isn't Black Panther? I don't know if there is. So why hide it? You know?
I think with this, though, what I would say is I'm kind of content to say if this is Ryan Coogler sealed and approved, that's all I really need.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, at this point, like he's in that category of filmmaker where it's like he could shoot. If that's the person he wants, then I'm perfectly happy to see what he does with the character. My only question, which before we leave this topic, would just be, is he the son or is he T'Challa?
I would assume
All universe or something. Yeah. Like, is there any? I was thinking about this the other day. Is there any chance? Because Coogler wanted the son, obviously, as we know from that interview, he wanted the son to be a part of this evolution from the beginning. But I was trying to come up with: is there a world where, if Damson is the alt universe T'Challa, that Denzel is the alt universe T'Chaka, and that's what he's right. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. That's the one thing we don't totally know. Is the lead of Black Panther 3 the son or a reset version of T'Challa?
Because we got to reset everybody, right?
Well, it's post Secret Wars. The movie's post Secret Wars. Okay. So if the character is appearing in Secret Wars, who is he appearing as? Right. That's what made me sort of go back to the idea of, are they actually bringing T'Challa back in another form? Because the son wouldn't necessarily need to be in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So when he gets the part, they're going to show a shot of him at the end of F1 where he's like on the thing, like cheering with the fireworks in the background. Hey, that movie did not hurt his candidacy.
Oh no.
That thing was seen as a huge risk and turned out to be a huge hit. And it's going to get nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Not necessarily him, but the movie.
Yeah. Strange Academy, Brian, what are your thoughts on it being revived? I thought this was something of an idea that they were playing with. And I think even back in the day when we got wind of it, we was like, why? And now it's still why.
So here's my thought on the Strange Academy and the Nova stuff. I think there is a collection of things that is caught in development limbo, and Marvel's not totally sure whether to do it or what medium to put it on. And is kind of what we're hearing in the rumor mill reflects pitches and conversations that are being had, if that makes sense. So it's like someone goes into Marvel and says, I have an idea for Strange Academy, and here's how I would do it. And Marvel likes it, then that project gets revived, or it sounds like it's going to get moved forward. Versus if someone goes in and like it doesn't go well, then a project kind of goes into it. So I use it as an example of Vision Quest, right? That's a series that was announced, died, and then they restructure the television division. The Picard showrunner, Terry Matalas, comes in and says, here's how I want to do it. And suddenly Vision Quest is happening, right? So that's like I think it's being lifted by the showrunner. My guess is with Strange Academy that the rumor is like they either have a new writer or a new show. Someone went in there and basically was like, here's how you do it on Disney Plus. And they were like, aha, that could work. And that's why you're seeing this. Whereas Nova, we have heard it's Richard Rider. It's a different version. We've heard movie. We've heard TV. I think what that's telling you is there's like different pitches being given to them, and like they're not sure. Therefore, it kind of sits there on the shelf, and it just kind of like isn't dead, but like there isn't enough confidence because the character's not Cap and it's not Iron Man that they're like, hey, we have to launch this now.
I would think a good approach for this that the Strange Academy exists in this new post-era MCU of that exists without the existence or the participation of Doctor Strange yet. And through this, we get a lot of info similar to how, well, I want to say similar to, but how well they did that first episode of the Loki, and when they sort of gave us a sort of introduction as to what's going on and what's this and what's that. It was done in animated form, but nonetheless, it provided good, solid information as to where things were going. I would
Yeah.
suspect that the pitch perhaps is the Strange Academy before Strange joins.
I see where on its own, this is an idea that on TV could be at least somewhat entertaining, right? The idea of these camouflage wizards of different backgrounds and skills kind of operating in different areas, maybe even different time periods. I sort of see why they're at least moderately intrigued to make that a TV show. It's not cinematic, but like something that's repeatable, something that could be fun. It's magic. You know, we've seen different shows do that well.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of get it. Like, I sort of get like why they think about it.
We need our Harry Potter.
A little bit, although the actual Harry Potter is coming to HBO in 2026.
Yeah.
So. Although, Pablo, but before we sign off here, we got breaking news. Literally, this is something that just went up while we were talking. And we got to talk about it before we sign off. So remember, we were talking about Brand New Day, right? We've been talking about like, hey, isn't it interesting that like the Netflix universe and Spider-Man seem to be coming closer together, even though there's all these restrictions on Daredevil and Kingpin from the Sony side. That apparently Sony is, because of the shock of shocks, the utter failure of Morbius and Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter, they are now more open to sharing more of their library with Marvel for use in TV and film. So maybe Brand New Day is the start of something. And we can see D'Onofrio and Holland head to head, and we can see Daredevil and Spidey side by side in costume on screen. Game is afoot.
Whoever initiated and made that and pushed that option deserves a raise. Because
that's a win. That's a win and a timely win. That's a timely win, right? Because Daredevil Born Again needs a little bit of push, and Spider-Man is now streets level hero. This is helpful, and it would explain why the hand would be coming into Brand New Day, and like now, all of a sudden, it breathes some life. I feel like into both the Netflix characters on Disney Plus, this new chapter of the Holland verse. Like, I don't know. I really hope this is true, because that would be potentially exciting news.
What's the source? Because I saw that I saw a couple of headlines regarding that. Where is that coming out of?
So Dark Horizons has the story. It's being sourced from someone on. It's being sourced from a scooper online with sort of, with a decent track record.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm sure. This is one of those where like Kevin Feige has had the upper hand in this conversation for a long time. Mm-hmm, and I'm sure as these other movies have been coming out, he's probably just like waiting or calling and being like, "You ready yet? You ready yet? You ready yet?
Hells yeah.
Like, can I have a key now?" Like,
yeah. Absolutely. Sony thought that they had something that they could do it themselves.
It's trouble. I do it myself.
They thought that they could Joe Boo it, right? And they struck out at multiple at-bats. So Kevin, I'm pretty sure, was having conversations and they were shutting him down. And they were like, you know what? All right, do what you got to do. But don't worry, Thanos again, back to me.
100%. But that's actually, like I said, I think it's really timely, because I think this could really be a godsend to both Disney and Sony. Like I said, because Born Again went so kind of unevenly, and this would lend a lot of credence to why Spider-Man Brand New Day has taken on the shape that it has. Now it actually makes more sense, because it feels like we could go somewhere. We could actually go somewhere new with that. So I'm really fingers crossed that this will open up Sinister Six flexibility, right? If you need a character from that library, you can get it. If D'Onofrio and wants to be Kingpin and bring him on big screen, we can do that. Like that could really be helpful. So a bit of good news here. I know we opened with some grousing and concerns about Doomsday, but we end with a bit of potential good news on the Marvel and Sony front.
Yes, definitely. I think you have people in the room now that are thinking a little bit more clearly as to how these characters relate to each other and how they work and how they can work. And someone seems to be listening, because obviously what we've done in the past, we've taken the suggestions of whomever, and look what we got. Madam Web, Craven, Morbius. We can't, I'm sorry. That is whack. It's garbage.
Well, that's another example of, like, you could say we don't know better than the people in the room, but when you look at those, you're kind of like, the audience spoke, man, like definitively.
The universe has judged you. You failed.
So
they gave you the Gamora.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of this episode of the Marvel Roundup and the stuff that's going on with Doomsday, the trailer that we're going to be getting for Super Bowls, and, you know, is it working? These Loki rumors, it's just that I don't know what to tell you with that.
I love Loki being a big part of the movie. I don't love the hammer. I don't love the hammer being
Loki
lifted
and Thor together, and what that conversation is going to be. If you've been listening to the Nerd Gen Report, we've been talking about that moment.
Yeah.
And we're finally possibly going to get it. But how we're going to get it, I don't know if this is Maximus.
This is not it. This is not it.
If this is true, he can run an Olympic relay with Thor's hammer, and that ain't right. Because we got Thor, Vision,
he
Cap,
seems
and
like
Loki.
a good guy. Put him on the roster.
And
of the relay
Jane,
team.
my bad. We can run more than a rally because Jane had it too. 5.
It's ridiculous, yo. Blade canceled. This is no, again,
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Damson Idris, we already saw the... Damn, there's a specific word that I had for whatever. I think we've already seen the breadcrumbs that are leading up to the confirmation of Damson Idris being Black Panther. We've seen the attempts that they've made to get reactions from us. You know, it's
little trial ballooning leaks out there to see what we think of it. Yeah.
Strange Academy could be interesting if the right approach is taken towards the next iteration of the MCU 2.0, right? MCU was like the MCU after No Way Home was like Windows ME, garbage. Hopefully this is XP. You know what I'm saying?
I love the ball. That's hilarious.
And Nova, we'll see where this all fits into the new iteration of the MCU. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. Remember to hit that like and subscribe. And again, if you haven't heard it anywhere else, you heard it here first on the Nerd Gen Report. We'll see you next time.